Well, welcome, Moss House, to Realtor Mind Tricks. I am your presenter today, Sarah Touchstone, with, there we go, on this side, Landmark Title. I am the social media marketing strategist and educator at Landmark Title, which means I get the pleasure of bringing amazing class content, ideas, marketing strategies to the wonderful realtors that we get to work with throughout the valley. So we are actually doing this is one of the first classes that I ever developed for Landmark Title, which for me is really exciting because that was many, many moons ago. However, the topics that we're talking about are tried and true real estate marketing tactics. These are the roots of what we do in this industry. So I'm really excited. This is a timeless topic because building advocates for yourself and your brand of real estate, it will always be, in my opinion, one of the best ways to market your business. So with that being said, this is one of the first classes I developed, but all of the things that we talk about are tried and true tactics. This is called Realtor Mind Tricks because what you are doing basically is convincing everybody out there to be an advocate for you and that you are the realtor that they are looking for. So we have a lot of fun with this topic, but it is based off, and I'm excited too, because we are doing back-to-back classes the next 2 weeks with you guys. So this is Realtor Mind Tricks. Then next week, we're going to be doing the 7 levels of communication. Realtor Mind Tricks is actually based on a lot of tactics from the 7 levels of communication. So these are 2 really complementary classes. I don't know if Moss House, you guys realize that when you selected both of them, but they are 2 amazing complementary classes. So we're going to cover kind of, this is a different take on the 7 levels of communication. So this one was developed around some of those ideas. So then we're going to cover this week, and then we'll go next week into depth on where did these ideas come from, the real root of all of this. So there was a handout that I sent over to Marcos for you guys. Make sure that you get it. You don't need it necessarily for the presentation, but it's good to kind of follow through on some of the different things that we're going to be talking about today with that handout. So with that being said, I'm going to hop right into it. Make sure those of you that are not watching the recording, those of you that are on live, if you have any questions, just utilize that chat window. I'll be checking it. So let's dive into Realtor Mind Tricks. We're going to talk today about creating brand ambassadors. So brand ambassadors, I'm going to dive right into this, what a brand ambassador is and why you need it for your business. And what we're going to do is we're going to start out by identifying the top people within your sphere, or maybe even outside of your sphere, that you want to be those brand ambassadors. Now, does it have to be 12? No, it can be, 5, 6, 10, 12 is a good number. I like using that number because I think of like the 12 apostles. So 12 brand ambassadors, but once again, every little bit of this program is customizable. So let's talk a little bit more about your top 12 brand ambassadors and how you can pick those top people that you think are going to be the most likely to refer your business. So in real estate, we know that some of our strongest advocates are our referral partners. These are the people that are going to go out there. They're essentially working for you while you are out busy working yourself. Referrals are like gold in this industry. So identifying people that can give you a good referral are just, they're so key to everything that you are doing in this business. So let's talk a little bit about the following criteria that you need to consider when we're talking about who can you really select and trust to be one of your top 12 brand ambassadors. One of the first things is not just about them, right? We're in the business of giving back. So it's a giver's gain idea. Do you have something to offer these people other than your real estate services. This is a really important thing because a lot of times in real estate, we are, we're neighborhood mayors. We are the go-to for a lot of people when it comes to things outside of real estate services. So being that wealth of knowledge, being that go-to person for things that are not just real estate related are really important. Another thing to think about is how socially active and influential are they? So I'm not just talking about social media either. I'm talking about their sphere of influence. If they have a smaller sphere, they may not be the best candidate for your brand ambassador. So how active are they in their own social sphere? This can also be how active are they on social media. If social media is one of the areas that you do a lot of marketing, or maybe you don't do a lot of marketing, but one of your top 12 brand ambassadors would be really great for doing that. Think about that as well. So it kind of socially goes multiple ways in our society nowadays. How much rapport you have with them is something else to really consider. They might be the bee's knees with everybody else, but maybe you guys just don't really see eye to eye with everything. Or maybe you just kind of have different personality types. A lot of times we say your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So making sure that you have that rapport, that vibe with them is really important. And the next thing, you will eventually be offering them a job. Yes, this is an unpaid, employment. Now, there are different ways that you can thank people and reward them, but essentially, this is a top 12 brand ambassadors. It really is like a job, right? So if you offer them the job, will they take it? The next thing to think about too is, do they like you? Now, once again, that kind of goes back to vibing and rapport. But this is really important. You may really, really like, this person, but it might not be something that, they may not feel quite the same about you. So making sure that you like them and they like you, very, very important. And then last but certainly not least, have they had a positive experience with you? Now, think outside once again of the real estate industry. It doesn't necessarily need to be a past client. It could be somebody that has never done any real estate business with you, but maybe it's a member in the community. Maybe it's a member in your church. Maybe it's somebody outside of what you would think necessarily would be a great referral partner. In fact, sometimes people outside of our clients make the best brand ambassadors. I've actually known people that have a family member that's a real estate agent, right? So they themselves are like, I really feel obligated when I do a real estate transaction to use this family member. However, they have referred other people who they are brand ambassadors for when it comes to doing real estate deals outside of their own personal. So when it's outside of their own personal, they have gone back and referred to a different realtor. So once again, it doesn't always have to be a past client. Now, past clients, of course, they've had a great experience with you. So they also do make excellent brand ambassadors. So that's kind of a summary on those top 12. So once you've selected those top 12 people, and you can always start slower too. I throw the number 12 out there, but this could be 2, 3, starting at a starting point of picking out your brand ambassadors is great. So whatever number you feel comfortable, and you can always add down the line too. You don't have to start this program going, oh, if I don't have all 12, then I can't move on to the power meetup. You can start out with a few and then build over time. You can even practice just with a few. So let's talk about the next step. And this is kind of like a program. Like I said, there are multiple steps through this program that will help you to really hone in on your brand ambassadors and train them in the ways of the Jedi mind tricks. So the next thing is the power meet. So we do spend a lot of time out there meeting with our clients, meeting with, people in our industry, sometimes our industry partners, right? I'm sure that you guys get out there and you meet with your escrow officers and your business development managers, but This takes that concept into the Power Meetup with your brand ambassadors. So let's talk a little bit about the Power Meetup. And this is a really, really strong tactic when it comes to building that trust rapport with those brand ambassadors. Schedule a time to take them to breakfast, lunch, happy hour. And I really love when you find a spot. So a place that is like your Cheers, a place where everybody knows your name. You know the waitress, the front desk staff, and they know you, they know your order, they know when people come in. It just builds that really nice rapport. So I love having a spot that is your go-to spot when it comes to the Power Meet. And then make this part of your marketing budget. We always set aside money for our marketing budget, right? Our EDDMs, our boosts on social media, and any other little things that you're doing. Consider this part of your marketing budget. Set aside X number of dollars to do this every single month. And then when they are there, don't just dive right into real estate like, I want your referrals. How can I get your referrals? Ask them about themselves. Ask them about their business, their personal lives. Really try to find how you can help them before you start asking them for help. I go back to this, I've done BNIs for many, many years. So I always kind of go back to their idea of a giver's gain. If I give of myself, my time, my energy, my resources, that will come back to me in gains. So find out how you can help them, but then also make sure you commit to it. So if there's something that they're asking for at the Power Meet, make the introduction on the spot. If it's a resource that they're looking for, go ahead. I know a lot of times we say, put your phone down in meetings, but go ahead and get that contact person that they are looking for, or that event that they're looking for, whatever it is. Realtors, you really have an amazing network and ability to share that network. I have seen so many realtors, people just reach out because they know that you know the people, you are a connector. So that's always a really, really good resource. Who do you have for a pool guy? Who do you have for a landscape guy? Who do you know that does property management? All of these things you have people for these. So remember, that can always be something too. Like if you know somebody needs to get a new cinder block wall, say, hey, I've got a great guy that does that. And then make the introduction on the spot. A lot of times we want to say, okay, great. I heard that you need that, and I'll do that when I get home. I'm telling you guys, you are busy people. You are realtors. You are out running around. So don't be afraid to actually send them the number right then and there. And then, of course, remember the 70-30 rule. You spend 70% of the time that is outbound focus results in 30% of new customers. And then 30% of the time that is spent in inbound prospecting brings in 70% of the customers. So we're talking about spending that amount of time with a select amount of people to bring in a lot more business. It's a really great way for you to spend your time instead of just constantly going out there and going, I need leads, new people, need people. This program is about focusing, honing in on the same people, and then training them on how to really be that advocate for you. How can they help you to get referrals? Not just you constantly going out, spinning your wheels, spending 70% of your time out there to only bring in 30% of the business. It is spending 30% of your time on the select group of people that are going to bring in 70% of your business. And then your Power Meetups. So these should be at least once a month. Figure out what works best. I mean, maybe you can even meet more than once a month, depending on whatever the relationship is. And don't be afraid the first Power Meetup to be like, okay, are you the chosen one or not? Maybe soften it up with a couple of meetings, maybe by the second meeting or the third meeting. Shift from just tell me about what's going on in your business, what's going on with your family, into more real estate. Now, I recommend, you have to gauge every single meetup for yourself, but I always kind of recommend that waiting to talk real estate really until maybe that second meetup, and then kind of determining, are they the chosen one? And ask them the questions. Y'all are in sales, so you know that question. If you had a friend or neighbor who was looking to buy or sell, who would you recommend they call? Now, this is not always going to be, oh, well, you, Sarah, I'm going to call you. You're my realtor. Sometimes it is not. However, if the answer, a lot of times we get well, my cousin's a real estate agent, or I used so and so a couple of years ago to, buy a home, I would probably use them again. A lot of times in real estate, we want to just shut down, right? We want to say, okay, well, they have a realtor, they have somebody that they would refer. But instead of shutting down, move from judgment to curiosity. If they have someone, ask some more questions. How well do you know this person? What do you like about them? And then what would it take for me to be your guy or gal? And then explain to them your referral process. And of course, at this point, you should have a great referral process. Remember that we cannot give money to people that do not have a real estate license. So I'm not talking about a referral process like you would with a realtor, but there are some creative ways, and I'll talk about it a little bit later in class. There are creative ways that you can reward your referral giving partners. So dig a little bit deeper and get some more information. Like I said, a lot of times, people are like, well, somebody in my family, my cousin's a real estate agent. But if you ask a little bit more questions, a lot of times you can get people to say, well, I guess I would give them business. But if you come across as being a lot more knowledgeable, a lot of times you can build that trust and that credibility better than just saying, well, we're blood related, right? So get in there and really explore what the options are too. A lot of times too, we see this all the time with, people who buy homes, that a lot of times agents don't stay on top of their clients too. So if they maybe said, oh, 2 years ago, I bought a home with so-and-so, I guess I would refer them again. How is their relationship with so-and-so? Has so-and-so been following up with them? Has they been, celebrating, their 1 year, 2 year home move-in anniversaries? A lot of times realtors are just so quick to move on to the next that they really don't nurture these relationships. Cue you, right? All right. So you've met up, you've had a great time. There might be a relationship here. This might be one of your top 12 brand ambassadors. The follow-up after your power meetup is crucial. And we find, I was just talking about this, right? People buy with a realtor. There's no follow-up. So you're going to take your amazing follow-up to these brand ambassadors as well. You're going to treat them better than you would even, well, you're not going to treat them better because you guys treat your clients amazing. So you're going to treat them wonderful, just like you do your clients with your follow-up. You're going to send a thank you card, a handwritten thank you card. This is a tried and true old Buffini model, right? Send those thank you cards. Make sure you're connected with them on social media and that you are remaining active. A lot of times too, if this is a budding relationship, that they may not be like, okay, I'm going to refer you like tomorrow after 1 or 2 power meetups, but now you've opened that door and continue stepping through that door on places like social media. Ordering postcards through services like TouchNote are really fun too. You can pull images off of people's social medias, make it into a personalized card, and send it out digitally too. So that's just another really fun way to stay top of mind, to do something unique and creative. And then also follow up on your deliverables. If you said you were going to send them a pool guy's phone number, make sure you are doing those things. Follow up with them monthly using your CRM too. And not just with, here's your free home evaluation email through your CRM, or here is just another CRM drip that I put these brand ambassadors into. Try to personalize some of these monthly emails through your CRM with things like, how's your business? How can I help you? Going back to that giver's gain, my perfect client is. I love this one because in real estate, we want to do real estate with everybody, right? However, the most successful realtors are the ones that are honed in on who exactly their ideal client is. So if you haven't really sat down and looked at who you want to work with, who is your ideal client, or maybe what are the patterns with your past clients? A lot of times that's the easy one to figure it out because once again, your vibe attracts your tribe. So you probably already have a group of people that you're working with that follow a similar demographic or similar lifestyle or something like that. So let your brand ambassadors know who that person is, especially so they can be on the lookout for those people when they come across them in their daily lives. I think one of the things that we take for granted in this industry a lot is that we know what we're looking for when it comes to getting referrals. Like we know that people that have kids moving off to college are going to potentially be downsizing, or people having a new baby and a growing family are going to be potentially upsizing. But a lot of times people outside the real estate industry don't think of these change of life cues as being a reason for needing a realtor. So informing your clients or your brand ambassadors of this is a really great way for them to start tracking and seeing who your ideal client is and giving referrals to those people. And then of course, do you know anyone looking to buy or sell? The question is always good. And then stories. It doesn't, once again, always have to be about real estate. It can be what is going on in your life, what is going on in your neighborhood, what is going on in your community. Just stories. People love to follow along with stories. So maybe even take things that are going on real estate wise and turn those into stories as well. And then put those through your CRM and let people know what is going on. So things that are personal to not just you, but also personal to them. So think about things like sports, colleges, pets, kids, travel, events, art, music. We're going into fall time here in Phoenix. So that means a lot of sports and a lot of events coming up. So pay attention to what is important to your brand ambassadors, and then make sure that you're sending information that is related to them, not once again, not just you. And then treat them like a precious employee. So this can take months to really build that rapport and figure out if this is somebody that you want as one of your top 12 brand ambassadors. And remember, you're only supposed to spend about 30% of your time on all of these people in total. So after and I would always, like I said, I would always give it a couple of months because this can be a while to understand, maybe even like 6 months. But if this relationship is not working out, just like an employee would not be working out, do not be afraid to fire them. It's a weird concept, I know, but your time is worth money in this industry. So make sure you are spending your time wisely with the right people. And then once again, this will take time to develop, but if you touch somebody 6 times this way, all of these things that we're talking about in the follow-up, 85% of them will remember you for life. That is really powerful. And when you think of all the things that you are doing on a daily basis to get out there, to get leads, to get referrals, these simple steps make the biggest impact that I've seen. I've been in this real estate industry for about a decade now. And I am telling you guys that even with if social media literally is in my title, even with social media and with a lot of the other marketing tactics that we have out there, building these relationships is the most tried and true way to build a referral-based business. And once you build that referral-based business, you are having people remember you and they are out there being your advocate. So it really is an amazing process. Okay, I just talked a little bit about CRMs, but this is probably the biggest when it comes to really building this brand ambassador referral system is leveraging and using your CRM system. So if you are not using a CRM system already, then this Realtor Mind Trick system is not going to work for you. You've got to be able to follow up. You've got to be able to remember the small details about people that are your referral partners, are your brand ambassadors. So, and it's easy enough. I mean, like I said, if you're like, Sarah, I don't have a CRM system. Oh, this entire class means nothing to me now. Don't worry, guys. You can get a CRM system. They're very easy. There's great ones all over the place. I love the local CRM system, Wise Agent. They are based right out of Fountain Hills, and they are specifically for realtors, and they are very inexpensive. I'm not I don't work for Wise Agent, but I have used them for about a decade, and I know that they're inexpensive and easy to use. So there are inexpensive, easy to use CRM systems out there. Moss House, you guys might even have an in-house one. So there are great options Moss House, you may even have one that you refer, like this is a great one that you can use. So just make sure you have that CRM system. And then enter all data, not just their names and phone numbers and email. All of that is important as well, but information about their spouses, their children's birthdays, anniversaries, their likes, their dislikes. Maybe they love golf. Maybe they, have a summer house up in Canada. All of those little details, everything you know about them, enter that into the CRM system. I know we like to think that like we're going to remember, oh, I had such a great meeting with that person. Oh, we had such good rapport. I felt like they were my best friend. And I'm going to remember everything about them. The more people you have in your system, the harder that gets to be, right? And the older you get, the more people you have in your system. So enter all of this into your CRM. And then enter notes after every power meet. So once again, you can even, this is why I love having a cheers place to meet, because even after your meetup, a lot of times if you got that rapport and people know that you're going to be there all day, half a day, maybe you've even back to back set up your meetings, take that time after your meeting to sit and enter into your CRM system. And I'm not talking about time at the end of your day either. While it is fresh in your mind, always make sure you're building in that gap time between meetings. And I know in the title industry, we are the most guilty of scheduling meetings back to back and running from one place to the next. But I'm telling you, 30 minutes between your meetings or after your meetings to enter in the notes about what you talked about will make your life a lot easier. And then make tags within your CRM system for like your top 12 ambassadors. And then make sure that you are associating those tags so that it's easy for you to navigate around. And some CRMs call them tags, some call them categories, but a way that you can identify who these people are in particular. Once again, you're going to have I have thousands of people in my CRM system. So, having those tags for me has always been really important so that I remember, where did I meet this person? What's information specifically about? Why is this person important to me? Think about it that way too. These are important people to you. So make yourself little reminders about why that person is important to you. If you change the mindset from I have to do this to I get to tell my CRM why this person is important to me, it will make it a lot easier. And then one recommendation I got this actually as a recommendation to me when I've got my first CRM in the real estate industry, like a decade ago, was every time you open up somebody in your CRM system, set a task to do next. So never get in and enter things into your CRM system without a reminder task. on what your follow-up is going to be with that person. And I love that advice. I did recruiting back in the day, and that was always such a good piece of advice for me, because that way people never fell through the cracks. A lot of times after recruiting events, I'd be meeting people, I'd be setting appointments, and then I'd be following up with them. And very frequently, I remember hearing, nobody else has followed up. Your follow-up system is great. And it was literally because I would set a task for me to do. So I was always reminding myself to keep touching people. So keep touching your people, and then celebrate. This is another really big one. So next to the follow-up, celebrating people and celebrating your success with them is really, really important. People want to make sure that when they are giving you business, when they are giving you referrals, and this is, once again, like, it's not a referral where 25% goes to an agent that referred. So you really have to get creative when it comes to how are you rewarding your brand ambassadors? How are you celebrating them? So things like giving them status updates throughout the process. If I've given you a referral and you just said, thank you for the referral, and then, a couple months later, I see a post on social media that you guys closed a house. And I'm like, well, that's great. I'm glad that worked out. But I would have loved to have known, where you guys were in the process. Like, did you reach out? Did they like you? Are you guys working together? Are you seeing homes? Did you make an offer? Now, not all your brand ambassadors are going to want that much information, but try it out. See what it feels like. See if they want these kind of status updates. A lot of times people really do, because giving a referral can sometimes be a very personal thing. So give them those updates. We were talking about how you can reward people, right? You can't just give them a check. In real estate, we don't do that. But you can spend time with them. You can take them out for an expensive dinner, maybe like a good steak at Ruth's Chris or something like that. Invite their spouse, bring your spouse, make it a big deal, because, oh my gosh, people giving you referrals is a tremendous deal. So don't just say, here's a gift card, send me another one. Really make it a big deal and make it about them, right? It's not just about you, it's about them. Maybe even invite, if it's a close relationship, maybe even invite the people that they referred to you as well, and just kind of further sow those seeds of relationship. And then, of course, once again, acknowledge them on social media. Let other people know how excited you are that your brand ambassador gave you a referral. A lot of times on social media, we get that kind of like that FOMO, right? Like, oh, so-and-so is giving referrals. Well, and going out to dinner. Well, I could do that with them too. So use the power of social media when it comes to really acknowledging people and getting the word out there. All right, guys, that was, I know, a lot of information that I kind of threw at you all really quickly. A lot of times I break these different segments down. I've done this Realtor Mind Tricks. Like I said, I've done this class for many, many years. And a lot of times I break this into a mastermind. So although it seems overwhelming, you guys got the handout. There are different segments. So going down and maybe just focusing on even one a month. So when I've done this as a mastermind group, we've met once a month as a group, and then I would meet individually with all of the realtors and see how is it going with identifying your brand ambassadors. Then how is it going scheduling the power meetup? How did the power meetups go this month? How did your follow-up go this next month? How is your CRM going? And how are the celebrations? So I would actually break this into a 6-month mastermind group. So when I say it takes time, that is the kind of expectation to really build up a good brand ambassador group. It can take about 6 months to do, but stay consistent, stay on track, use that handout. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. If y'all have any questions, from today's presentation, please put them into the chat so that we can, chat about it. And if you have any questions after this, I'll put my email into the chat. It's really easy. It's just my name, sarah.touchstone@ltaz.com. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. For those of you guys that are watching recorded, once again, it's Sarah, sarah.touchstone@ltaz.com. You guys can reach out to me, ask any questions that you would like about this program, or if you even want to just send me an email and let me know how it is going. I would love to hear updates about it. Then next week, same time, same place, we are going to be diving into the 7 levels of communication by Michael Mayer. This program was kind of built around some of his techniques and tactics. So if you are curious as to how this program, this Realtor Mind Tricks program, was developed, definitely tune in next week, and I will be talking specifically about the book. Now, it is a really easy, quick read book too. So you all still have plenty of time. If you want to run out, grab that 7 Levels of Communication by Michael Mayer. You will love this book. It is a really great one. You have time to read it, and then we're going to break apart all the information in that book next week. So make sure you guys are on September 11th at 3 p.m. as well.